Please state your name for us and where you're from.
Deontay Lewis.
What's your question?
So I got more of a comment. One thing that has been said a lot has been the grassroots work. And there's been a lot of grassroots work that made it all the way to grass tops. But when they get to the grass top, it's oftentimes that they forget about the grassroots. So we need to highlight the grassroots more so. And also, from a leadership, we need to make sure that we hide these agendas and put these titles away. The reason why I said where I'm from, because that's in that 53206 that's making a lot of publicity and getting a lot of funds, but oftentimes those young people that are living in those areas and have to deal with that fear never get any type of reparations whatsoever for all of these things that's being said. And lastly, so my former title is actually with the Office of Violence Prevention, working for the city. And one of the biggest efforts that we're taking is aligning all of the efforts that take place and understanding that the people really have the power. We could talk about economics, we could talk about all of those things, but before we got to that point, we had a sense of community. Auntie had the chicken, uncle had the burgers, and somebody else had bread and Kool-Aid, and we made it work. So let's stop sitting around hoping. Let's start doing. And talk to your neighbor. That's the start.
Before this young man walks away, he has a very interesting story. Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about your story?
Like I said, I grew up on 16th and Center, and there was a lot of negative things. I saw someone get killed. I've gotten shot at. I've come up in a single mother home. My dad was killed when I was 13. All of those things that they say. But I graduated from college. I tried out in the NFL. All of those things. So let's believe in our young people because we were once young, so we must do something different. Let's not stop investing in our young people because that's where they become somebody that's really going to be able to pour back into the city. The city isn't always bad, but it's easy to sell a problem.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to have you tell us your first and last name and where you're from.
All right, I am Jared English. I'm from here. Just a guy.
And what's your question?
Not really a question. And, present company included, I apologize. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, but, if this is like a doctor giving a diagnosis that needs to happen so that people can move forward, we just got to say it. And so one of those things is that for the last 30 years, our business and political community have absolutely failed us. And like I say, I apologize. I don't mean present company included, but what I mean by that is that we see people of color in the city. This, by the way, if y'all don't know, Milwaukee is a 63% person of color city, 40% plus black, Latino, among many other ethnicities. And that being the case, we treat people of color in this city like a liability and not people who, number one, that all the politicians and police officers and bureaucrats work for, and number two, somebody who deserves real chances and real opportunity. And so somebody mentioned it before, and go right off of what Bucky said, it's like the vast majority, and Chief Flynn himself will even say this, the crime and the really not so good things that do happen in Milwaukee are still a very small part of what goes on in this city, even in black communities and Latino communities. That being the case, we have to make sure that as much attention, as much resources as I think Reggie said, we put in the downtown. And just so y'all know that, right now it's about $6 billion that's gone into downtown in the last 10 years. 1/10 of that would make the city a paradise on the other side. And so it's on the onus of our political leaders who work for us, and we're gonna make sure you know that, get on the game and make sure that they're giving people the opportunities that they deserve and need to start demanding. We can't just keep making excuses. That's too much, and it's too long. And, I see a lot of community blaming that goes on, and not a lot of the buck stops here. Let's make this work any way it can and get the job done. And so that's what we need our politicians to do. And I think it's past time that we, the people, force them to do that. So, thank you.
I'm Keisha Crum. I am the lead organizer of Common Ground.
Okay. You have a question for us?
I have a comment. So first of all, I want to recognize our leaders from Common Ground. The video that you've seen is really from their great work. They live in this neighborhood, they live in this city and this county, and they're committed to not just saying that we have to get resources, but they're committed to going to power with solutions about how to redirect those resources. So the reason why we were able to do that work is because our leaders had the courage to say to those banks that broke our neighborhoods that you need to fix it. And so the work that we're doing now is continuing to build on that housing work. You talked about the work that we're doing on Center Street. We're really looking at revitalizing Center Street, looking at all those vacant buildings and figuring out who are going to be the people that actually invest in them, to put businesses back in them that we want in this neighborhood, and to make Washington High School an actual beautiful facility on the outside. So if you're interested in that, our Common Ground leaders are here. You can talk with us when the program's over.
My name is Frank Nitty, a community activist. Everybody here knows me. Most of these people know what I do. So I have mainly can I look up a little bit? I'm sorry. I have mainly a comment more than anything, okay? There's a disconnect in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm here to tell y'all the truth. They wasn't gonna air it anyway. So there's a disconnect here. I don't even understand how we can sit here and talk about funding in the ground, grassroots. I really don't even like the term. It's really foundation, if you think about it. How can you build something from the top down? It's never gonna work. That's why we're broken. We're trying to build things from the top down. And then we all know how the world works, so the people at the top control everything. So you have people at the top controlling everything. So when funding comes into the city, the people at the top get it, and it's like a tree with too many branches. It never hits the ground. You can't build from the top down. That's impossible. You can't build a building from the 10th floor. But the thing is, they know that. The people at the top know that. You understand? We don't know that, but the people at the top know that. It's designed like that. The people on the ground can't get money. We go to these meetings. We go for the funding. They tell us we haven't been out here long enough. They tell us we haven't been established long enough. And then when we say, oh, we might have to pull away from the work, they say we need you out here. We work with every organization that gets funding. We work with every organization that gets funding, and we're out here more than all of them probably combined, if you want me to tell you the truth. And the reason is because they don't trust y'all. The families don't trust none of the organizations that's getting funding. They trust the people that's actually out there. So then there's a disconnect. And then the people that give funding to these top organizations, when the funding doesn't hit the ground, they say, we gave y'all money, and the problems got worse, so they cut the funding. So if you have people giving money and the money's never hitting the ground and nothing changes, they make it look like it's hitting the ground. Y'all know how money works. When you have money, you can make it look like you're working. The stuff works. That's why they have Ponzi schemes. They have whole companies that didn't have nothing there but money. It's easy to make it look like you're doing something when you have money, but it's people that's really doing something. If all of the grassroots people left right now the ground, the city will fall apart. And they know that. We meet with these individuals every single day. We meet with these people every day. But we don't meet about money. We meet about change. We meet about all the stuff they need me to find people to volunteer and do, get them to go vote, get them. They don't have the gas to go down there. People cars broke down. We carpool into events. We doing all this stuff, and if somebody getting paid $150,000 to come around us and say, hey, how y'all doing? Thanks a lot. We gonna represent y'all. Then they go cash their administration checks. We just came from a meeting for the block grant where administration $800,000 out of $1 million. You see what I'm saying? We're 30,000 going this way, 800,000 going to administration. Administration is the people that pass the money out. But you don't got no room for the people that's on the ground every single day doing the work. It makes no sense, and until we address the issues that they don't want us to get funding, that they have it designed for it to be hard for grassroots, or it's hard for foundation grassroots people to get funding. If you don't have no money, you can't get no money. That's just it. That's just the truth. And we're not working together to help them get funding. So as long as that disconnect exists, we could sit here and talk all we want. We could do this all we want. We could be political all we want. But the truth is, next year we're not going to get funding. The year after that, we're not going to get funding. The year after that, we're not going to get funding. Nothing's going to change. The city's still gonna fall apart. Money gonna disappear. People gonna be driving Benzes, and they're gonna be coming to the community talking to us, asking us to please stay in there with no money. How's we supposed to survive? We really out here with our heart. We don't know how. Vaughn Mays, this is my brother. We out here every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The freedom fighters just left to go to a house because they had a call that somebody needed them. You understand what I'm saying? It's real for us. We not an organization that's just out here in meetings all the time, with suits on all the time. We out here with the people all the time. When I leave here, I got to go back to 24th where the 6-year-old boy got killed because we got all the information on how he got killed. Because we out here and the people trust us and they tell us what's going on, but they don't tell the police. And then on top of that, so what are we supposed to do when we can't even survive out here? And then next thing you know, we got to pull off the ground and there's more and more problems. And we sitting there talking about money that's coming in that's never going to hit the ground. Man, I'm done. I ain't even going to talk about it no more.
Thank you.
Lauren Anderson in Milwaukee. As someone who doesn't live in the Sherman Park neighborhood, but also really wants to see change and values leadership overseeing that change coming from within the neighborhood, I'm really eager to hear suggestions for how to be actively an advocate and support that effort as someone who doesn't, again, live in the neighborhood.
Good question. For someone not living in Sherman Park, what could be done?
Yep.
What can she do, or what can people like her do? Oh, step on up.
Support people on the ground. Everybody always asks where the leaders are. Be the leaders. I hold community meetings, they're empty. No one's there, no one comes. No one comes. When we're out, like Frank said, I'm out. I work for an organization. I didn't before. I was out there with them, I'm out there with them now. I see the same people, the same Vaughn, the same Marquesa, the same freedom fighters, the same Frank, the same people, the Office of Violence Prevention alone. No, certain elected officials are always there, the same ones. Not all of them, the same ones. The same people, the ones here. We there. We need y'all to support us, support them, donate to them, help them. If the funding isn't coming, please, come to the meetings, please. That's it.
My name is Lisa Jones. I live in Milwaukee. I'm with Uplifting Black Liberation and Community. And one of the things that we've been trying to do is make sure that we are bringing people together who want to be helpful in trying to resolve some of these issues. And one of the things that is that we're all siloed all over the place. Everybody's siloed all over the place. So how can we connect if we don't even know each other, anything like that? And so what we're trying to do is build that kind of community that we need to get to know each other. How can you, just like the sister that just asked that question, she doesn't live in the neighborhood, but she wants to be involved. How does she do that? Well, we have been meeting monthly. UBlack has, and you can find us on Facebook, UBLACMKE. That's our Facebook page. We will be having our potluck on August 6th at 5 to 7 at, what's the community center again? The Brenton Community Center in Bayview, and that's going to be on August 6th. And so if you are really interested and you want to meet some other people that are trying to do this, some other people from different grass organizations, not just us, please come up. We need people to show up. It's no longer time for you to just sit back and wait for a public official or maybe even your church or your pastor or whomever it is. People, you have the power. It is time for us to unite. Unite. All right? I hope to see you on the 6th.
And honestly, what you could do too, I think everyone should pass business cards around, and if you want to get involved, the people are here, so try to get involved and connect.
Vaughn Mays, founder of Program the Parks. I appreciate the question from the young lady of asking what she could do as someone from outside of the community. The problem with that is it should be a lot more people asking that question before they come into our communities doing what they think should be done. As Frank talked about, these closed door meetings, these decisions that are made from the top that have no input from the community, that's part of the problem. And when we were talking about, when Jared was talking about how these problems have been going on for 10, 20, 30 years, there's a word that comes into play called complicity. And if you are complicit and you know, I don't have a college degree, but if I know it and you're an elected official, you definitely should know it. So again, pushing for creation of a lane. We talking about grassroots. We talking about people out there doing the work, people who are unseen, unheard, but are doing the work. And as I can't remember who said, but if there was a different need for a different group of people, there would be a program tomorrow. So we definitely need to invest and channel our energy into creating new lanes. We cannot continue to do the same things over and over and think there's going to be a difference or a change. We have to invest in the new, and we have to do something different. Lena Taylor has something called the Faith and Love Initiative, and part of that is she personally came to myself and a couple other people and said, you know what, in my plan, you should be paid as a community connector. You're out there on the ground, people don't know about these resources or these organizations that they can get help, but you do, and you funnel them into those. That's the creation of a new lane. I don't know why her plan is not being pushed. I don't know why her plan is not being supported, but we need to look into that type of thing of supporting new and innovative and needed and necessary lanes.
Thanks, Vaughn. And Laura, I believe you were trying to interject something a bit earlier?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on your question. Sherman Park is not a project. It's not a destination for selfies. It is a community of humans. And if you want to be helpful, then you are going to have to connect with people who live here. And you are going to have to ask them, what can I do? How can I be helpful? So organizations like Program the Parks, or come to Park Lawn Church and start to know the people here and hear their stories and find a way, because there's not a formula, there's not a solution, there's no 12-step program. You're gonna have to be here, and your heart's gonna have to break, and it's gonna have to be changed. And you can't be afraid of that, because if you're waiting for the world to be safe or for it to be politically correct for you to come in and help, then you're never going to do anything. But if you want change, if you want to be helpful, then you're going to have to enter into some brokenness, and you're going to have to know that you are caught up in this story too, and you're going to have to know that deeply, and you're going to feel that. And it's going to make you uncomfortable, and it's going to change you, but you will be better for it. And please do those things. Please connect with the people that are here. Connect with Sherman Park and ask them, what is helpful? What can I do? But you can't do it from outside. You can't do it from arm's length. You have to be here and hear the stories and know the people. I guess that's my best advice for you.
Sarah Schneider, I live in Shorewood. I work at Northwestern Mutual, and I'm the executive sponsor of our African American Employee Resource Group. Very powerful comments that you just made. I can't beat that one. So I'll just add to it a little bit. The segregation of our city, I think, is a problem for everyone, for all of us. And our city can't be well and can't be healthy until we know each other better and have a culture of encounter and relationship and deeper understanding, and believing that we all have to be better for our city to be better. And so I think just one other reflection that I've had as a white person, we have to work against racism and segregation from wherever we are and use whatever means and resources and relationships we have to make that happen.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Izzard. I'm a resident of Sherman Park for 18 years. I have two sons that are one 18, one 19. And I've seen Vaughn out here in the park. I walk my dog at night, and I'm wondering, okay, what are these guys doing? And the problem that we're running into is now there is a lack of community. Our kids do not feel like they're connected to the Sherman Park or to anything. And I remember back last summer when all this was going on, we built that Boys and Girls Club was put there for a purpose. It was put there so the kids have a place to go to. And what was happening was that the police were there at night telling the kids they couldn't stay there, they had to go. They put the fence up around the park. They had no place to go. When I was a kid, I grew up in Milwaukee my whole life. When I was a kid, we used to go roller skating. We used to go to the park. They can't go anywhere anymore. They can't go to State Fair. They can't go to Summerfest. They can't go to the mall unaccompanied. They can't do anything. And so these kids get angry. They get frustrated. And the only thing they know how to do is to just strike out. And this happens that because they're here, this is where they're striking out. But we got to find something for our kids to do. We got to find something constructive for them to do. They got to have hope. They got to believe that people care about them. And kind of going back what your statement was, for us who are here, we have to realize that it's a sacrifice. Michael Holt said it a while ago in an interview. He made a statement that the worst thing that happened to the inner city of Milwaukee was desegregation. And he said, well, why would that be? Well, before desegregation, what happened was all black people lived in the same area. So the pastor lived in the same neighborhood as a doctor, as a teacher, as everybody. So you had these role models, and people lived around the corner from you, and people lived in your neighborhood who had jobs, who were professional. And then what happened when people got the chance and they moved out, it left a vacuum, and now there's nothing there. And now Sherman Park isn't as bad as some of the other neighborhoods, but I live on Grand Boulevard. If you head east of my street, it's like a whole different neighborhood, and there's poverty, there's hopelessness. The people who are here have to reach out, and we have to mentor these kids. We gotta be there. We gotta foster a sense of community again, and get out there, have block club meetings, walk your dog. Don't be afraid. We need people who really believe in what we're doing here and make Sherman Park a cause, not just a leftover thing that used to be great, but we can make it great again. But it takes the people here, the people that really care about this, and the people here, I know the people that go to the meetings, are the people that are involved. We got to get out and we got to make a difference. And once that happens, then things will start happening. It goes back to grassroots. It's got to come from the bottom up. We cannot look for our government officials to come in and to do the stuff for us. We can't look for people to put money in to do the stuff for us. We got to do it ourselves. So that's all I got to say about. And if people have ideas about what we can do for these kids, because they got to have some place to go. This summer hasn't been bad yet, but there's got to be a place for these kids to go. We got to find something for them.
James?
My name is Michael Levy. I'm from Milwaukee originally. I currently live in a Racine, Wisconsin community, but I work out of Sherman Park. I have more of a comment and then perhaps a question. My comment would be piggybacking on that gentleman's commentary. The organization I work for happens to be the Milwaukee Tennis and Education Foundation. We are housed out of Mary Ryan Boys and Girls Club, so we're in the park. And when much of this conversation has been around the community and much respect to the community. I think community builds people and neighborhoods, cities. But one thing that's lost is the park. It's the park. Parks are the central component to communities. And there's been some great effort made to bring, back the park of Sherman, back Sherman Park. But what I've seen in the past year being in my current career path is that we can do a better job with the park. If you enter the park from Burleigh, the first thing you see are dumpsters. Really? It's a park. All of the sporting facilities in that corner are around those dumpsters. It's a park. So children aren't going to come to play in a park when that's the first thing they see. We can't invite people who support our organization, which is a nonprofit, when they pull into the parking lot, the first thing they see are dumpsters. So there are challenges with that. I think we want to make our park, the one park we're talking about, functional again, meaning people can come into that park and find something to do in their particular like or dislike. Most parks see barbecues on a holiday, kids go to play baseball at the baseball park, we play tennis on the tennis courts, not much these days because they're locked up most of the time, and basketball is the only thing that's available. Let's be honest. Why the kids take over is because we don't have people my age back in the park. We have a vibrant tennis community here in Milwaukee, but they don't play in the park called Sherman Park. They go find other places to go. So I think it comes down to, simply stated, how do we make the park functional to the community to which we address?
I'm State Representative Jonathan Brostoff, and I just first off want to say thanks to everyone for coming down, and thanks for all the great work you guys are doing on this. But I think before I say anything, we all need to recognize again the great work that Vaughn and Gab have done, and we should find a way to get them paid, because in the absence of leadership they've led, and I think everyone in this room can network and make a commitment to getting that done tonight, right? I think we can all figure out how we can get these two paid for the great work they've been doing. So I'd like to make that challenge to everyone here. Aside from that, I just want to say that there's been a lot of talk about some programming, and I don't want to rehash that because I think a lot of wisdom was shared, but I want to talk about another program that I saw earlier this week. In fact, I see Senator Larson. We took the tour together of a meal site program in one of the schools that's in our district. And this is a school that has very high poverty rate among the children who go. And so what they've done is, and everyone's familiar with this, in MPS schools you get your breakfast, right? And you get your lunch. And now you get your dinner. And now they said, well, kids go hungry beyond the school year, so why should we close it up? It should be throughout summer. You get your breakfast, you get your lunch, you get your dinner. So we pay for a program, and it's a great program because people are getting fed and they need to get fed. But we're also, as a society, saying we're okay with the parents not making enough money to feed their own kids, so we're going to send the kids, ship them to the school in this really inefficient manner, and say we're going to feed them there. And that we're okay with. We give them enough so they don't starve, but we're not going to give the parents enough money to feed the kids. And we're okay with that as a society. Now, we have the money. We certainly have the money. We're looking at giving $3 billion to a guy who's worth $7 billion that may or may not become our state, right? We're going to give that away without blinking. That will happen, mark my words. But we can't figure out how to pay parents in our community enough to feed their kids, enough to get every parent in Milwaukee that wants one a $40,000 a year job. We could do that. So I think the programming is great. We need to figure that out, and there's been a lot of wisdom shared on that. But we also need to figure out why we want the program that we have in place and what place it actually holds in our society. Because it's holding the place of actually paying their parents and paying our community enough money to take care of ourselves. Another example, Lincoln Hills. So one of the big issues that we have at Lincoln Hills is, first of all, it's really inefficient because we bus our kids all the way up to Irma, Wisconsin, and parents and workers from Milwaukee got to go all the way up there and all the way back, so it's inefficient. Second of all, the abuses and the tragedies that have happened up there, we're talking about what? For disciplinary actions, a kid had his toe amputated. If that was a kid from, who looked any different, that would be shut down immediately. If that was not a black kid from Milwaukee, it'd be shut down immediately. But we continue it. Not only that, but in this budget, there's more money for it, and we're going to send more kids up there. And one of the things in this budget that looks good, but actually isn't, is more mental health funding for Lincoln Hills. We're going to have, I think, 2.5 more positions funded up there, something like that in the budget. So what we're saying is, instead of, and we have, a privatized healthcare system, but instead of having a situation where parents make enough money that they can have insurance, that their kids can get access to healthcare needs, mental health care needs that they need back home so we can prevent these situations, we're going to send them all the way up there. We're going to pay for more positions to do this, and we're going to keep employing the citizens of Irma, Wisconsin with these good-paying jobs so that that situation can continue. It's inefficient, it doesn't work, and we need to figure out the programming and, more importantly, figure out how to pay our community members so you don't have to have that kind of programming, because that's a bad kind of programming. And I just want to wrap up. I know I've taken a lot of time tonight, but the system is working exactly how the powers that move it want it to work right now, and it's incumbent upon us to not accept that because, again, if every parent in Milwaukee was able to make at least $40,000 a year, what would we even be talking about? You know what I'm saying? What would we even be talking about here? So something to contemplate. It's something, I as an elected official am committed to working on, but I think it takes all of us, many hands make a light load, and we're on it together. So I hope that's something we can contemplate and go beyond just the idea of a little bit more funding. Oh, and, actually, I want to say one last thing. There was something in the video that kind of got me going, and I wanted to answer it directly, but I didn't, I wanted to wait till everyone got their time to talk, but our Lieutenant Governor, Rebecca Kleefisch, spoke in there, right? Do you guys remember that? and she said two things. The first thing, she said, wow, there's lots of unemployed black men in Milwaukee, and we're going to use a program, the Joseph Project, because we have an election of one of our senators, a Republican senator, so we got to get him reelected. And this reelection of our Republican senator, to send him up there, we got to pay people to go to these jobs way out, so we're going to have to pay for busing, send people out, send them back. Now, what if your kid has an emergency, and you're in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, or wherever you're at in Wisconsin? Or what if something else comes up? What if you have a health issue? So we're having this, again, inefficient program that's set up to continue the process. And what did she say? She said, why is it that we have all these unemployed people and they don't move and live by the employers? And why do we have all these employers that don't want to move by the workforce? You know why? Because we pay them a lot of money to move way out to the suburbs and way out to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, the areas. We pay them. That's why, Rebecca, we pay them to. You pay them to. We pay them to. That's what we do. That's why they live out there. It's not complicated. And these subsidies that are funding these really inefficient systems could again be going to paying for jobs in our communities that would solve these problems before they happen. Something to contemplate. Thank you.
My name is Alyssa. I live in Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. I want to respond to the woman who asked what she can do as a member of the majority. I go to a lot of these meetings, and invariably there's women and men and all sorts of white people coming up to the microphone and asking, what can I do? Well, anyone who's been to any of Reggie's lectures know that these problems, the segregation, all the problems that are going on in the greater Milwaukee area, not just the city of Milwaukee, didn't just happen overnight. There's a long history. And the only way that I can see of there being any possibility of any hope of any of this changing is if all kinds of people come together and work together on these issues. To respond, what can you do? Well, in Whitefish Bay, of all places, we've started an organization called One Circle Forward. We're bringing people together to work on racism from where we are, to work on segregation from where we are, and to collaborate with organizations throughout the Milwaukee community by reaching out to them and working with them and supporting them. If you're looking for something to do, again, another plug for Reggie, go on the Rid Racism calendar, their Facebook page. There's something you can do every day. That's how I found out. Go to a UBlack meeting and meet Lisa, who will tell you to go to a conversation on race at the United Methodist Church in Brown Deer, and you can learn and you can meet people and you can build relationships and you can help. There's a million ways you can do it. Just this week, I went to Alice's Garden. I've been to UBlack, and I'm not saying, oh, I'm a great person, pat me on the back. I'm saying there's opportunities out there. People just need to get out of their bubble and get off their couch and go out and do something.
My name is Carmen Simon. I'm a Sherman Park resident. I have a comment. I wanted to share an idea I learned from a guy named Ronald J. Sider. He started Evangelicals for Social Action. He talks about how if each sector of society does what it does best, then we get the most change, we get the most progress. So for example, the churches, the faith community, they do what they do best. Businesses do what they do best. Government and politics, we need them, but they do what they do best. Grassroots, neighbors, individuals and family, the media, thank you for hosting this. Nonprofits, universities, community activists, if we each sector does what it does best, then we can move forward. That's my comment. Thank you.
Marquesa Tucker, I have a question for people in the audience. If you have not been engaged or involved, my question is why? And then my next question is, what is it going to take to get you out of your bubble, to get you off of your block, to get you from going from downtown around Milwaukee, to get engaged in what is happening in the city that you're sitting in right now? What is it going to take? Is it going to take your loved one being shot and killed? Is it going to take your loved one losing their job and being kicked out on the street? That is my question to anyone who has the courage enough to get up and say why you haven't been involved and what you think it's going to take for you to become involved.
Okay, my name is Marjorie Morgan, and I live east of Sherman Boulevard. My husband and I live on 37th and Burleigh, and we've lived there for 45 years. And I can't even begin to tell you the changes that we've seen in the neighborhood over that time. We raised our boys there, and there are still a substantial cluster of families that have lived there as long, if not longer, than we have. And I want to tell you from our experience, one of the worst things that has affected our neighborhood was the crack epidemic, and that it's still affecting the area. At one point in time, I really believe that our neighborhood became the area of upward mobility for crack dealers. Through their money, they could buy houses at low rates. And I'm not saying this to say that everybody that bought those houses were crack dealers. I am saying that I do know this happened because I can identify houses on my block where this happened. But more importantly, this whole epidemic has sucked up a generation of young black men that are almost lost out there in the criminal justice system. And trying to get them reabsorbed into society is very difficult. The other thing I want to say is that I really, really believe in Earth as a healing vehicle. My parents grew up on farms. I have a garden. I dig my hands in the dirt because it helps me come back in contact with myself. There are projects in Milwaukee, like Walnut Way and Alice's Garden, where people are reclaiming their neighborhoods and putting something good in it and removing the trash from it. When people are surrounded by ugly, don't be surprised when you get ugly.
There's also Andre Lee Ellis's garden as well.
Hello, my name is Kendall Allen. I spoke to a white male the other day, and our conversation was, he was telling me so much about how he be in our community, the black community, and how he take photos and how he expresses, you know, the concerns in our community. And I said, but what are you doing? He said, I am taking pictures of the realness. I said, but why? You're not doing nothing. And he started realizing, man, to be an organizer out here, you don't go into people's neighborhoods like it's a zoo, and then just be talking to us like we don't know what our own problems is. So what I told him to do was, I told him to actually help us. You actually come to our community and you help us raise those awareness to those people that you know to come to this community and actually bring those assets and those resources that we need. Because if people just come into our neighborhood just to take pictures and to say, oh my God, I was there, I'm in the hood, that's so stupid, you know? And, you know, and I challenge people on that, you know, don't come here with your false hopes and be true, because people not dumb, and especially not me, you know. And for the youth, you know, I came up with programs called financial literacy. I teach basic financial literacy to kids, and I teach global issues discussion so they know what's really going on out here. So, you know, for people to invest in me, I haven't had no investment. I haven't had no one look out for me, and, you know, I really need some help to get to these youth because I am a youth, and I know what they need. And if I'm not being heard, and I've been to every community event I've been around, man, I can't even go through this, but I'm just saying, it's not a zoo, man. You feel me? So if y'all can just, you know, send the funding to the people who can actually make it work, you don't have to come to our community like it's a zoo. That's all I gotta say.
All right, and tonight we've been talking a lot about youth, but we actually have a 16-year-old here who would like to say something. So we're gonna have you tell us your first and your last name and then go for it.
Hello, my name is Sienna Jones. I'm 16 years old, and I go to Rufus King High School. I'm a little shy up here. I'm up here because I felt that young people like myself need more people to talk to. We need somebody like myself to listen to us. I just want to say I was born addicted to drugs for 9 months straight. It's a lot of kids out here struggling from at-home abuse and being bullied. So some kids and teenagers that have mental illnesses, I start self-harming at the age of 5, so I know what it feels like. Just please keep in mind that we all have something we go through. I'm pretty sure the kids that were in that video were not thinking. Us kids that think we can do what we want whenever we want, that's not okay. We need discipline. Coming from a young lady that is being raised by her grandmother since birth, So we really need places to go and people to talk to because you can't judge anybody by their looks. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liza Herbst. I am from Milwaukee, and I just wanted to piggyback off of the man who runs the tennis program out of the Boys and Girls Club. You know, he mentioned that his kids go elsewhere to play, even though there are courts at Sherman. You know, you talk about when you drive up to the park, initially you see dumpsters. Well, let's not forget about the porta potty. What kind of a public park has public restrooms, but they're locked? So you talk about wanting to deter people from having a park, from having things to do, from kids, you know, being able to do things. Who wants to go in a porta potty in the middle of summer? I mean, let's be real. I would also like to see the picnic tables moved back to where they were. There were picnic tables around the playground area where Program the Parks does their grilling and, you know, does the food. Those tables were moved, which it was very obvious that it was intentional. Program the Parks was also promised a shed, which has yet to appear in the park. So those are just some of my ideas and thoughts that kind of, I guess, coincide with what the gentleman said. Like, you know, he runs this program out of Sherman Park, but his kids go elsewhere. Well, these are some of the reasons why. I mean, there's public restrooms, but they're locked. It's just a lot of things that I see that are done intentionally to keep people from going to the park.
My name is Darren Madison. I'm just a community member. But around this time last year, I facilitated a youth listening session right in this room. And the quantity of young people from the Sherman Park community that came to that listening session was slim to none. The quantity of people of color that sat in that audience was a lot better than this room right now, but it was still a lot less than it needed to be. When it comes to organizing in our communities, right, and organizing our people, we know what we need to do. A lot of white people in this space have been asking, what can I do to help? The biggest component is not coming with a savior complex, which is sold a lot to white people, right? Like when people are told like you should come and help out in this community, you come in with the savior complex, and you do a little bit, and you feel like you saved all the black people's lives, all the people of color's lives. I was born on 13th and Burleigh. One of my earliest memories is a person breaking into our house and saying, "Hey, little bro, I'm taking your TV." We know our struggles. We know what we need to do. We know how to grind to get where we want to be. There's young people that walk miles every Saturday to go work with Andre Lee Ellis in his park, right? Because they want a better life. They want jobs. They want to follow this concept of pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, which really doesn't exist, right? Because there's so many things built up systematically against them that pulling yourself up by your bootstraps or starting the race is so many obstacles to even get through the first tire of it. For black people. For white people, it looks different. So when you're coming into our communities, our young people, what they need resources, they need mentors, right? My mentor was David Bowen, Supreme over there, Jared, some other people that left this space, right? They showed me what I needed to do to get where I want to be. I'm still not there yet. I'm facing a few obstacles, but I'm going to get there because I believe in myself. And that's what mentors do. They inspire young people to believe in themselves. Vaughn is doing that every day with those young people. Andre's doing that every day with those young people. Despite all the struggles that they go through, those young people can call them at any time of the day to talk to them about all of their strife. That's what these young people need.
My name is Farina Brooks, and I'm from Milwaukee. I want to address 3 categories of people. First of all, I am a Christian. I want to address the church people first, because to me, the church people got it all wrong. They think that we got to get them in the church. You can't get them in the church. Most of them, when they came up, were dragged in church by grandmama and them. But they don't want to hear about God right now. They're angry at God. You know why? Because God took grandmama. They don't understand why their cousin or their family member was killed, why their family member is locked up. They don't care nothing about our God right now. The first thing we have to do is have a listening ear. Build a relationship. Don't judge them because their pants is coming down. When I see them with their pants down, I say, hey, honey, how you doing today? Don't do that, because you know what you're doing? We're treating them no better than, excuse me, the white people are. You want to fuss about how the white people treat them. We treat them just as bad, because guess what? We putting this image on them. It's not fair to them. Then I want to address the older generation, which I am 60. But let me tell you something, older generation. We cannot get the young people to where we're at because of what we came from. That is not the generation we live in now. The generation we live in now, they want action. They want us to listen. When we listen, they want to hear, well, you know what, baby? Let's go over here. Maybe I can take you over here. They need mentors. The women, they need women, not telling them, baby, you showing too much. They don't want to hear that. Do you not know that some of these young kids, some of these women, they don't have money to buy clothes. That's all they got. That's all they got. So we need to stop doing that. And I want to leave y'all with one last story. I volunteer at City on the Hill, which is a outreach for young people, the at-risk, as you will. And I will never forget when they changed the law that says at 13 you can be charged as an adult. I was the first one to clap to that until I met a young man at City on the Hill that changed the way I thought after that. This young man, his mom was on drugs. His dad wasn't in the home. He was the oldest of probably 6 kids. They didn't have no food. Remember, young people got pride. They still have pride. I don't care where they come from. He had pride. So his thought was, oh God, I gotta feed my siblings. He didn't even think about himself, because if I don't feed them, they are going to die. This young man went and snatched a purse because he was worried about feeding not himself, but his siblings. So when y'all begin to look and judge these young people, the first thing you need to do is say, you know what, they might have a story. Maybe I need to go over there and try to build a relationship with them instead of going over there and, as they said, try to be their savior. You can't be their savior. First, you gotta build a relationship with them. Be their friend first. Listen to them. Don't knock what they're doing. And when they come into church, do not look at how they dress, because you know what? If all they know is the club, all they got is club clothes. That's it. So, don't do that, because you're going to chase them away, and we need to step out of the church into the community. That's something I did. I sit back. I live on 37th Center. I've been there since 1990. I've seen the crime go up and down. When that 16-year-old boy, I didn't know how bad he got hurt. When he got shot, my heart hurt so heavy. God said, you better do something. I said, Lord, I don't know who to talk to, but 2 people I did know to contact was Von Mays and Tracy Denton. You know what I did? I said, you know what? We need to do something here. We need to arrange. We did something that people probably never thought they'd see, where there was diversity of people in a prayer peace walk. The family of that young man said, you know what? Thank y'all. I didn't know so many people loved my son. That's the kind of stuff that has to happen. That's how you reach the community, one block at another. Don't sit back talking about, oh, they out there doing this, they out there doing that. No, make a difference.
Homer Blow, Program Director, Music Director, WUWM Radio and BlowRadio.com. One of the things that, when I go to different events, and sometimes I don't go as often because I know sometimes it's going to be the same old, and you're not going to get anything but a meeting after the meeting about another meeting, then another meeting after that meeting. and nothing still ends up getting accomplished. But what I want to put the challenge out, because again, I've been involved in my community for most of my life, and especially in my adult career and being in radio, constantly involved. One of the things that I have to challenge, because it's disheartening, is how many young people are not here. It was such heartwarming to have to be able to finally hear from a 16-year-old. But I challenge the grassroots groups that we are talking about, that we know that you are out there doing the good. It's events like this. We need to hit them like Sally Struthers would hit us, talking about these kids right here, just 35 cents a day. No, but let them see, and let them hear their voices. We know that they are upset. We know that they are angry. We know that another Sherman Park uprising is just a half an incident away. It's a half an incident away. And if we don't get to put that in their face, we need to, so I challenge you to the meetings that some people may say is closed. This is open to the public. We have to bring them. It should have been just an army of those individuals that can give their own testimonies. So you people that can try to make a change, you can see the differences that are being made. And I think sometimes you can hear it, you can watch a little cute video, and it's all good, but if you don't see it, when you saw that Sherman Park uprising, you said, uh-oh, something got to happen. Something has to change, because it was put in your face. The people that she was talking about that are quick to be judged and quick to be dismissed, when you find out that, no, they're intelligent, when you find out the story of why they ended up making some of the choices that they made, that's that thing that I see Sally Struthers on TV talking about. You see little Mika here? You understand what I'm saying? And we spend so much money for places outside of our country instead of places right inside of our city. I say we have to clean up our own backyard before we go and try to worry about what's going on in somebody else's yard. We talk about the violence in Chicago. What about our violence? Let's take it per capita, and let's really look at what's really going on. So again, we got to make sure that they see them youth in here marching in, sitting next to some of them, sitting next to some of the VIP seats. Yeah, if you get a little uncomfortable, you should be, because this is what we are dealing with. And until we end up putting them at the table, we can talk for them all we want. We need to hear them. So we got to bring them. I challenge y'all to make sure that y'all bring youth to all of these different kind of events where the people are making the decisions. When you got to go down there to see the CDBG board, pack that out with all of those individuals who will be able to go up there and say, I am a testimony. My mother was on drugs. My father was abusive. As a girl, she may have been being molested by her mother's boyfriends or different people in the family. They need to see that. You understand what I'm saying? So I challenge you to make sure that we bring the youth. It's free. It's free. It's free. And if not, when we go to the city, this is our city. That's right. We got a right to go in there and voice our opinion, because they're going to say, is there anybody else here who would like to speak? We need to make sure that they hear the voices of those that they've already written off.
My name is Marveline Flynn, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm just here to make a statement. We just need to know that the government, they work for us, and we have to hold them accountable. And if they're not doing what we want them to do, then get them out. It's simple as that. Use your vote and make sure that if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, get them out.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I live over in Shorewood, and I want to address, there were a number of comments throughout the night. One, somebody mentioned people's silence, which hurts, and I gotta say, I'm one of those people. I've been silent a long time. I only lived in Milwaukee. I moved back here last year, and I've seen all these things happen, and I've not said a whole lot because I'm worried about that savior complex thing. I don't have answers. I don't know what to do, like all these people who are saying, what can we do? And somebody else asked, what's stopping us from figuring that out? I gotta say, I could use a buddy. That's what I could use, is like, I could use a buddy who's on the other side who can help hold me accountable. And if anybody else who's like, cool, so come, okay, so, okay, all all the people.
You got a lot of buddies.
All the people who are saying, what can I do? If we could all stand up and somebody come be our buddies so that we can be held accountable. We'll have a buddy, get us to meetings, get us to things. So anybody else asking, what can I do? Stand up. Stand up. Everybody stand up who's like, what can I do? We are looking for buddies. Come talk to us. Yeah, come talk to us. Everybody stand up who's like, what can I do? What can I do? If that's your question, okay. Cool.
Great.
Come talk to us.
Thank you.
And on that note, I think that's a good way to end it. It's friendship and fellowship and the buddy system. See, it goes back to kindergarten, right? All right, thank you very much on behalf of 1036 and Milwaukee PBS. I really, really appreciate all of you being here this evening. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Good night, everybody.